Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of MaidmentMadness. You join me today on probably one of the hottest days of the year so far in the UK. It's lovely. We've got two jobs to do on the bike today. One is replacing the indicator or turn signal controller for the bike. Mine's just not working as it should. And instead of taking it apart, I've just bought another one from Yamaha. So we'll be doing that. And then also we'll be fitting complete set of LED sequential lights to the bike. So we'll actually be replacing this entire unit here. So that controls your lights, the horn, the indicators, and this is what the new one looks like. Of course, straight from Yamaha, looks brand new as it should. And for the LED sequential turn signals indicators, this is what I've gone for. Just cheap and cheerful. They bolt straight on. They have red and black, so that's your positive, negative. For this kit, you'll also need spacers, so to replace what the current ones look like here. So this if you just took this off now as it is, you'd have this huge space here. So get the spacers. I've gone for steel ones that are painted kind of like a satin black color, so they're pretty good. And also you will need a new resistor for the whole setup. So this is an LED specific resistor. Again, this is kind of OEM, so it's plug and play. And also just make sure you don't have any hyper flashing or any of that. There's just one more set of parts that I'm waiting on, and that's actually it's kind of like an LED cable adapter. So best way to do any kind of modification is to, well, when it comes to electrics, try and reduce the number of cuts and bodge jobs you have to do. So these cables will just mean I can plug straight into the OEM connectors for the indicator, and there's 4 in total, obviously 1 for each indicator. When that arrives in the post, we'll do that bit in the installation. But for now, I'll get the front headlight off so I can unplug the current controller, and then we'll fit the new one. Let's get it. Okay, so all we needed to do was take out those 2 bolts just to move the headlight forward. I've seen so many people just remove these 4 bolts on the front to take this unit off. Don't bother, no point. Okay, so all we have is the cable that kind of runs here, and it's underneath all this plastic. So you just pop these up here to expose the wires. For reference, by the way, these are the adapter cables I'm waiting on. So just check which ones your bike has before you order the parts, but you know, 9 times out of 10 it's kind of this setup, unless you've got a fairly new MT-07. Just take a look. And then you can see, believe it's just under here, one of these. And for ease, I've just taken 1 bolt out of the handguard, because to get the original one off, screw here and a screw just under there. Okay, so now what I'll do is unplug the cable, get the existing controller off, and then I'll probably just give it a quick clean, and then we can start putting the new one on. Okay, that was simple enough. So this is just one connector that kind of slots up in there. That cable runs, and you can see it's this one. So I'm just going to replace that and then run the cable back. Obviously, I'll give this a quick clean before putting the new one back on, but we are good to go. Okay, so everything's now plugged in. Let's just give it a quick test. Sounds right. Right, let's get the bike back together now, and then yeah, we'll move on to the indicators. Okay, now the bike is back together. We will now start with the rear LED indicators, and then we'll move on to the front. So, what's the process? Okay, so for the rear, and now for reference, because they've just arrived in the post, this is what the adapter cable looks like. So that's what plugs into the OEM connector, and you've got your bullets go basically to that. Okay, and that replaces this one here. Now, I've got two options here because I'm not too sure on the length if we're going to have enough. Now, I'm going to take some of the panels off and see if the length is okay. If not, I'll do it the old-fashioned way and simply snip the wire underneath where the OEM indicators are, and then just wire in the new ones and tidy it up. So that's my plan for the rear. The fronts are much more simpler, and I won't need to do any cutting as a last resort. So let's crack on with the rear and see what we get to. Okay, so a step in the right direction. Looks like the length is okay. And just to test the left back, you can see it's gone into like a hyper flash mode, but don't worry, we have the relay to deal with that, and we'll do that when we get to the front. So that being said, now I'm just going to remove the back left indicator and then start to fit the new one. So far so good. So we've just got the new ones in. This is what it looks like. Looks much better. So all I need to do now is wire it up properly and then get the bike back into a presentable state, at least on the back, and then we'll move on to the front. Let's get it. Okay, so the back of the bike is now back together. I'll give you a quick demo. Here's a tip: if you get hyper flash before you set the relay, replace the relay, you can just put the hazards on, and it looks like this. Look at that, much better, and really bright. So yeah, we'll now move on onto the front, which should be a lot quicker, and yeah, see how it looks. Let's go. Okay, so for the front, in order to do this easily, what I'm going to do is remove the touring screen and pretty much those 4 bolts in there, and then 2 bolts either side to lift the whole unit out. And as I understand, I believe the flasher relay, which we need to change out so it doesn't hyper flash, is somewhere behind here. So I'll take that off also, and then we should be okay to get the old ones out and start wiring in the new ones. Right, let's get to it. Safe to say, guys, the front is much easier to dismantle and get to all the wires. So this is what we've actually got. Okay, so to start with, you've got your left and right indicator cables. Those are the same pins as we saw, or same connectors as we saw on the rear, which is good. And then also the flasher relay that comes with what I bought. It's just this piece here, so that slots up, and you have a 3-pin connector, but for the MT-07 in this case we're only going to use 2 pins, so we'll swap that out at the end, and hopefully that will stop hyper flashing, so all 4 lights will blink exactly when they need to and not crazy. So that's the plan. I'm now going to get the OEM ones off and then fit the new ones. Okay, good news, guys. Everything is kind of wired up loosely and it's a good result. Check this out. Okay, so this is just with the hazards on. You can see they're indicating as they should, timed well, and that's because I've just plugged in the relay, so that's all working fine. Same for the back, everything's looking good. Okay, now that we know everything's working, happy days, let's get back and put the whole bike back together and look at the end result. Let's go.
I've been getting out of bed these past few days. Think it's fair to be proud about it. I've quit ordering from all those fast food chains. I'm feeling better, there's no doubt about it. And my days are brighter, my shoulders are so much lighter. Just for a moment there, I thought that there was nothing more to life. I thought about it, wrote a couple songs about it. Just for a moment there, I lost myself. Mind if I be real for a minute? It's almost like everything I feel had a limit. It now gone past, finding reasons to smile and to laugh at whenever it's a bad day. Music is my band-aid.
Okay, bike is now fully back together. Let's take a final look of appreciation on what we've done. Here we go, guys. Look at that. Tidy design, actually super bright. The camera doesn't do it justice. Same for the rear. I mean, look at that. Compared to the OEM, just stick out on a bulky, it's just no need. Better visibility on the road, always key, especially with drivers. Wherever you are, you have to watch out. That's going to be a wrap for today's episode, guys. Thank you very much for watching. Like and subscribe if you're new, and also a special shout out to Incendiasales once again for providing the LED lights themselves, and also JTech who provided the adapters so we could just wire it in nice and simply. Also, if you wanted JTech to extend the adapter cable for whatever reason, maybe just peace of mind if you don't want to resort to any cutting if you get to that stage, just drop them a message, they'll be happy to accommodate. That's it, see you in the next one. Peace.